Have you seen the Corn Elder play?
Oh, I was watching it
live. Yeah.
Actually, I have to admit, we had played during the day, and I changed the channel. And when I came back on, it was during the long review process, and then tried to piece together what had happened. So,
what did you think at the time?
I mean, it was remarkable. I mean, it's like it defies explanation, right? I mean, it's something that you can't even imagine ever happening, and it's just, I guess it's like you say, it's why you play the games.
Now that you have to play a team and a fan base that's obviously very fired up to make that right, is that something you talk to the guys about, just knowing they're 4-0 and this is a big game?
I think that's a bigger issue. I think who they are, the 2017 version of Duke versus the 2017 version of Miami, is probably a bigger deal. We already played them a year ago. I'm pretty sure they'll treat us poorly when we walk out, regardless of what happened 2 years ago. So, and when the ball meets the foot, I don't think any of that will really come into play.
Through 2 games, can you talk about what you like most about what your defense has done, and then what you also want to see them really step up and do better?
Well, coming out of the last game, sort of the areas where we define ourselves. Number one is toughness. Run defense, I thought, was very good against a pretty good scheme with what Toledo does. I think we held them like 2.5 per carry. Then get after the quarterback in our pass defense. Overall, they threw for 370, but the way we count stats, we do like the NFL. We put scrambles in the pass stats, and we put sacks in the pass stats because they called over 60 pass plays. So total yards is not going to. They average, I think, 6 yards a pass attempt. Not bad. Okay, so you're there. Okay, no long passes, no explosive plays. Run game, pretty good. One explosive run play. Pass plays, horrendous. Right? Had some egregious coverage busts, things that we've not done in a year and a half. You go to look at why that happened. A lot of varying reasons. Is it coaching? Is it some personnel things? Or does a lot have to do with when you watch ourselves in the second half of the first half, really the second quarter, late in the second quarter, where we're just holding on. And because it became systematic. If it was one guy, we're like, yeah, that guy, But when we have linebackers, corners, safeties not executing, not covering anybody, we just had a guy standing out there. And that's why, that was my feeling at halftime. That was my feeling after the game, why I was so proud of the guys for responding from that, because there was a moment there where we were almost letting go of the rope. Third down defense, made it very disappointing, right? Some of that early execution, some of that, again, new personnel in new places, learning their way. So, but I liked, compared to the opener, the physicality we played with. I thought our run to the ball and our strike was better than it was in the opener. If we continue to play great run defense, I know we can fix our coverages. I know we can get better on the back end, and we anticipate getting better on the back end. We knew we'd be inexperienced, and I kept mentioning when we were inexperienced in the front last year, our experienced back end covered up for a lot of those mistakes. When you're inexperienced on the back end, there's nothing to cover up, right? You're kind of exposed back there. So we'll get better. We've had a better week of practice this week. You always say in coaching, you make your biggest jump between game 1 and game 2. This is between game 1 and game 2. So our guys are excited to play, and Duke, of course, with an offense that they have, presents a great challenge for us.
Manny, go ahead.
Just with the growth of Daniel Jones from last year, what you've seen with him and how he went through last year, and then where he's at today, and maybe some things you've seen that are different with him.
Well, the first thing that defines him is his toughness. And if your quarterback's tough, your offense is tough. The offense takes on the personality of its quarterback. And, he don't slide. I mean, he can take a hit. He took some hits in our game a year ago. He's taking some hits this year. But when you see him lower his shoulder and get a first down, I'd imagine that gets everybody on their football team excited to play, because they know that he's tough and he doesn't flinch. Certainly they've got weapons. What he presents to us as a runner. Quarterback run game will be really in play this week for the first time. It really wasn't as much the first 2 weeks. So really the first dual threat guy we've gone against. So we knew going in that really he'd be one of the 2 returning stars we face this year at quarterback. And that's what I think gave Duke confidence. I think you see that in the way they started the year, and I think a lot of that comes back to knowing who they got, in the driver's seat.
On your D-line, I mean, you've seen guys make impact plays really, at all 4 spots, but where do you think that they can get better? Where would you like to see the improvements across the line?
Well, still, I think definitely finishing some plays on pass rush. There's no doubt about that. And again, just getting to where running plays look like bad ideas. You know what I mean? We're still trying to get the back. I thought our level of attack was better. I thought we got our feet across the line of scrimmage in game 2 much better than we did in game 1. But there's still a long way to go. Now, like I said, the different challenge this week is the challenge of the quarterback being able to pull the ball and run with it. So that's an added element that we didn't have a week ago. So it's not just a matter of just, going 100 bazillion miles an hour. You got to be disciplined too in terms of making sure that we're assignment sound.
With the secondary, how do you think their legs are at this point? I mean, obviously that was an issue.
Yeah, well, there's no. It was plain to see. But I think we got a pretty good workout on Saturday, so that'll help. I think just getting back this week will help. Getting back in the humidity for sure helps. And I think going up there and playing in the evening time, I think will benefit us as well. I think we'll be excited to play Friday night.
Manny, Mark talked about him a little bit, just kind of Dee Delaney going through what it's growing pains a little bit and getting used to FBS. How have you seen him just kind of handle things since Saturday? And he was one of the guys people were kind of raking on social media and stuff. He's a mature kid, but did you guys talk to him about that, just not paying attention to that and just keeping his eyes here?
Yeah, well, that's part of what we talked about why he came here. He came here because he wanted to play on this stage, and that's the good and the bad that comes with it. But that said, what we make a big deal about is what happens in our room, the opinions that matter, the opinions that are in our room. It's so easy at times to see from the stands or on TV, and it always looks like one guy was the guy. Okay, but often we always say that a disaster always has three. There's always three culprits in a disaster. So we always talk about that when we watch film together after the game. We always show, well, yeah, and that's one thing we actually in the secondary. You'll never see us. Sometimes you'll see the old guy point at another DB or and throw the hands up in the air. We don't ever do that because we don't ever, air our issues in public. So what sometimes look like maybe were his plays were not always his plays. You know what I mean? And so as long as we know that, as long as we understand that our mentality is always to find a way to make our last game our worst game. Find a way to improve, find a way to get better, focus on what's real, focus on what's in front of you, then to me that's just not for this, that's just for going forward, life, the whole deal.
Awesome.
Okay, thank you all so much, okay?